I don't know about the rest of you, but I really hope that with this latest scheduling change for the New Mutants, the film actually does see the light of day, because I've been waiting 2 years, and quite frankly, I don't know how much longer I can hold my breath. With shelter-in-place orders still active around the country and all of the major theater chains still shut down, there's definitely been some shifting and realigning of release schedules for a lot of major films. It's safe to say that, the summer blockbuster movie season probably won't happen for 2020, but we also have some streaming services that are just putting out films that were supposed to be released in theaters, and you also have a lot of rescheduling for some big budget blockbuster films that studios were probably hoping to see big returns on were the theaters still open. And with that, we have yet another scheduling change for the X-Men spin-off film from 20th Century Fox, The New Mutants. Now, this film was supposed to come out back in 2018, but because of reshoots and, of course, the whole acquisition of 20th Century Fox by Disney, the film had to get put on the shelf. It's had its release date shuffled a couple of times, and there was a lot of talk about whether or not it would even see the light of day. And obviously, with every scheduling change, certain pockets of comic book fandom would definitely take their shots, and are still taking their shots at the film, especially those who have never been fond of 20th Century Fox's run on the X-Men films anyway. Directed by Josh Boone, the film stars recognizable actors like Macy Williams, Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things, Alice Braga, Henry Zaga, Anya-Taylor Joy, and Blue Hunt, and revolves around a group of mutants that are just now discovering their powers and are taken to a facility for observation, which they cannot leave. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this facility that they're trying to figure out and try and escape from, otherwise they might not survive the experience. The film has definitely had a little bit of controversy as well, given the casting of 2 non-Afro-Latino actors to play Afro-Latino characters from the comics, and especially in the case of Dr. Cecilia Reyes, who Alice Braga is playing. Rosario Dawson was originally cast in that role, so it begs the question, why not just stick with an Afro-Latino actress to play that character if you were going to hire one to begin with? Beyond that, I still am optimistic about how the film will turn out once I've seen it, because I think that it looks like something that, especially in terms of the X-Men films that Fox has produced, this is something very different. This is something that has a darker tone, a little more horror-themed. Obviously, a lot of people have already made comparisons to the third Nightmare on Elm Street film, The Dream Warriors, and I think that's a very smart approach to go, especially if you're a fan of the New Mutant comic books, especially the storylines that this film seems to be basing a lot of its story on, especially if you've seen The Demon Bear, for example. That's something that a lot of fans are definitely excited about seeing. Now, obviously, one factor could be the budget for the film, which I don't think is very large compared to most superhero-based films. So I'm wondering what would be the rationale of delaying this film to August of 2020 in hopes that theaters are open back up by then, as opposed to just putting it on a streaming platform. If Disney Plus could do it, that might be one route to go. Disney also has a controlling interest of Hulu, so that could be another place for it. Or even if you could just work out a deal with Amazon to put it out like they have for some of the Universal films that have been going straight to streaming. I think that it just seems interesting that this is a film that 20th Century Fox, as controlled by Disney, really seems to want to be released in theaters. And obviously, there was a good chance of it happening back in April, if not for the shelter-in-place and shutting down of theaters, because this was already getting commercials put out on television. I think there was some bit of promotion ramping up for it, even if it wasn't as big as some of the larger studio films that would probably be released in summer. And now you just have this whole situation where we're just left to ask why. And I think that there's probably a lot that we're not privy to, and there could be some level of pettiness on Disney's part. There could be legitimate reasoning for wanting to hold this for a theatrical release, but I feel like myself and other fans are just kind of exhausted to have to wait 2 years for something that looks like it was really trying to be something counter to what we've seen from Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers and DC, and something that was using the characters from Marvel in a pretty inventive way that we rarely get to see. We rarely get to see Marvel films where there is a horror element to it. And I think probably the last best one I can think of is Blade 2. But beyond that, it just seems like, you know, kind of pointless. But again, I could be wrong. But at the same time, I feel a certain way about how this film has kind of just been kind of kicked around a little bit over the past 2 years. And I think it would be nice just to get it out there and see how people react to it. And yeah, maybe you want to see if you can make your money back in the theaters, but in the grand scheme of things, I feel like a lot of talented individuals have obviously come together to work on this film, and for it to just be kept from audiences for so long, for literal years, is kind of a shame. So I'm hoping that we get more answers as to why it's being delayed yet again, and just kind of seeing how it all turns out, because good or bad, I just want to see something different, especially in terms of comic book films. And it's unfortunate that this particular film happens to always kind of have some obstacle put in front of it that keeps it from the public. So hopefully we will get to see the film maybe once theaters do open back up, if it does end up happening before the August release date. And if not, maybe this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back for Disney and 20th Century Fox, and they just say, screw it, let's put it out there on one of our streaming platforms so that the audience can finally decide for themselves. Hey guys, thanks for watching as always. If you've got your own thoughts and opinions on the delay for the New Mutants, let's go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to keep up to date with more At Random videos, you can click the subscribe button, which should be appearing right over here.